Hello, Envision community. My name is Olivia, and welcome to our March monthly release chat. We are excited to be hosting this chat a bit differently. We are showcasing our new live topic feature that is currently being tested and set to be released for beta in the coming weeks. For those that have visited our community, it is likely that you've seen us testing as a team and working through this process of trial and error together. So thank you for joining today and being part of that. Plus, we have shared some teaser videos in our community as well. So hopefully you have enjoyed seeing those. So joining me today is Charles.
Hello.
We are looking forward to using this live topics feature, talking about our March release and answering questions that have been asked related to future offerings. So to participate, please feel free to use the chat feature in the live topic application to both chat with us and others that are joining live. And most importantly, use that same chat feature to ask your questions. Per the settings for this specific event, you ask your questions there in the chat, and we move them over to the main question area when we're ready to answer those. So without further delay, Charles, let's start by talking about the March release, and then we can segue into other topics from there.
Sure, that sounds good. So the March release is one of our, we tend to do kind of almost every other release where we have a release that has some features in it, and then you kind of have a quieter release, and March is one of our quieter releases. So I wouldn't be surprised if we mostly, this video mostly start talking about summer things coming, our April and May releases that people are really excited about. But in our March release, some of the things we've noticed lately, we've been doing a lot of application updates to Envision community. We've done like gallery, we've done events and things like that. This one, downloads, got an update. Was just a few things that have been requested. The big thing, there were some cosmetic changes, to kind of update the look and feel a little bit, make it more flexible. But the big thing was something that came up a lot in our marketplace was when someone would submit a file update for review. And sometimes the reviews can take a couple of days because we actually look at them and review them. Maybe they want to update a new version. Maybe they found a bug or something. They can now, kind of take back their review update and submit a new one, which is really great because it just makes it more efficient and stuff like that. There. And like I said, there's some cosmetic updates there too. The other thing was GraphQL. You're going to hear us talking about GraphQL a lot for two reasons. One, it's just another API, and APIs are great because integration is great. We have our REST API, which is very powerful. The nice thing about GraphQL is in one unlike REST, and with GraphQL in one request, you can perform multiple actions and also get very specific data back, where REST APIs tend to give you like everything, which is fine. But GraphQL, you can get very specific and only get the little data points you want back, which means it's way more flexible. And the other thing with GraphQL is, as we move forward to our version 5 release, we're going to change up the way we do plugins and applications to make it much more leaning into API-based modifications to the platform. And the nice thing about that is, as we release updates and upgrades, things are way less likely to break. So right now, if you have a plugin and release an update, sometimes if the plugin author hasn't kept it up to date, it may break things. We're using API-based approaches. That doesn't really happen because it's isolated with the API call. As long as the API call works, everything else will work too. So we're really excited about that. And for those who create, third parties who create add-ons and modifications, things like that to Envision community, we're going to start posting information about that pretty soon on where we're going with that and what you would need to change and stuff like that. But don't worry, this is going to be a months long process. So nothing's going to change immediately, but we're going to start talking about it and getting people ready for that. So we're actually really excited about that because it'll be so nice if you have a third-party add-on in Envision community that you don't have to stress about every update possibly causing problems. So right. Looking forward to that. That'll be great.
Yeah, very good.
And the other big thing we do is just some user interface polish. Aaron did lots and lots, dozens of small changes just to clean up some look and feel and stuff like that. Obviously, it'll be a big update coming later this year for the look and feel, but we want to do a few little things now to kind of spruce things up, some spring cleaning, so to speak, there as well.
Yep. Very good. Yeah. Any other little nuggets you want to talk about, or? I think that
there are lots and lots of small things, bug fixes, improvements, minor tweaks for March. That's the big stuff for March there.
Very good. You guys have any questions about any of those or other things listed on the release chat? You're welcome to ask about those here. So we want to ask, we have some questions that were asked of us before the event. So we'll share those with you guys now. Are there any achievement enhancements in this March release or in the future?
Yeah, so there's none in the March release because, again, this is one of those kind of in between releases, if that makes sense. Yeah. But for sure, we're definitely doing some achievement improvements, and it will be this year because there's been lots of things, big and small, that people have been asking about achievements. Achievements is a fairly new feature in Vision community. We've always had gamification and stuff like that, but we've made a huge update to achievements, I think it was last year.
Yes. It's been a little while ago. Yeah.
But it's
very well received.
And we've done some updates along the way, but we're getting ready to do a larger update. So we have a lot of feedback from clients who want achievements to be, they want more rules, more capabilities and achievements, and more integrations based on sort of milestone events. And that'll be a big focus, as well as, you get badges, you get ranks and stuff like that, but having achievements do more based on like achievements of sort of goal. That. Another interesting thing with achievements, we have the points, and we purposely don't show the points in public to the user because we don't want people to get overly obsessed with the points, because that's not the goal here. It's not, you're not trying to gain points. Points are purely a back-end metric. And but some interesting clients have done, they've been taking through the APIs like GraphQL or REST APIs. They take the points that our system generates and they combine it in their CRM to create an overall sort of value score for the user. So it really helps to identify which of your members are sort of driving the community and which are the ones that are really valuable. And we even have some clients that they send them t-shirts and swag and stuff to sort of thank them. So it's really interesting to see how different clients use these systems in really interesting, fun ways.
Yeah, I agree. So if you guys have any comments or want to share with us about how you are using achievements, or if you have specific requests, you're welcome to send those on to us, post those in the community. We see those, and we'll incorporate as many of those as we can in our upcoming editions. Next question that was asked before our event. Do you have updates to pages or articles in the pipeline?
Yes. Okay. I don't want to get too deep into this because we're still actually road mapping. We're working on stuff there, but Pages is going to get a very, very big update later this year. The cool thing about Pages that a lot of people give us feedback on is it's so flexible, particularly the database features. You can just create all sorts of really cool functionality. And we do this all the time for clients too, to expand the functionality of Vision Community to really unique ways. The other side of the coin is almost in some ways too flexible in that, because it's so powerful right now, it kind of requires you to be able to manually manipulate templates and manually inject stuff like that. So we're going to, look more into making things a little more drag and drop friendly and some pre-made sort of starter approaches. Like if you want to run you get a lot of people like a release tracker or like a bug tracker, those kind of things. We get that a lot. And just, having more capabilities built in so people can get going with it. But still have the powerful components where if you are able to dive in and you want to edit raw code, you can. Most people don't want to do that, of course. So that'll be a big focus. And that'll sort of play into later this year when we do a larger look and feel update. The Pages will kind of come along with this because we'll have much more flexible positioning options and stuff like that.
Yeah. Very good. And I've got one more question related to this. We had talked about this in a previous video. I believe it was our 2023 preview video. So are we going to be doing are we going to be providing an update to allow events to be paid, either in person or online events?
Yes. So, okay, we'll talk a little bit. Two things with events. One, when we revamped events late last year, several months ago, great feedback on it. People were very excited about it. People were really excited how we had added better support for both online and offline events and sort of separated them out so they would behave differently. From that feedback, we instantly got people saying, hey, events is really great. In fact, it's so good, we'd like to start using to sell tickets, to sell those kind of things. And so definitely we're going to do that. We're getting a lot of requests for that. And I will also say two things also about that is one, in general, across the Envision community, one of our goals is to make everything, if you want to monetize, you can. So if you want people, pay to post or pay to ask a question, so like you can almost do like a public support desk sort of thing, pay to post an article on a blog or something like that. All these kind of things we're gonna integrate. Also, a teaser, next month, Commerce is getting an update. The first of many updates in our pipeline for Commerce. The first update for Commerce is mostly focused on technology. We're upgrading our Stripe and PayPal and those kind of integrations. Because as we update, as PayPal and Stripe add features and capabilities, we want to bring those capabilities into Envision Community. So that'll be a big update. And some other things with Commerce to start to refocus Commerce into that more of a community monetization membership space. So that'll be big. That'll be kind of the first release of many in the pipeline for Commerce updates. So definitely monetization is a big thing. And we've also teased some other stuff like our courses application. That's an obvious place for people to pay to take a course. There's so many options coming out there. So we're actually kind of excited with that because we're getting a lot of great feedback there.
Yeah, for sure. I'll give a shout out to Andy. He helped with those events changes. he's over here bragging in our chat. All right. So is there anything else you want to talk about? Kind of related to these upcoming changes, or we can kind of dive into some more.
No, go on, some more questions. That's great.
Yeah. Okay.
There's upcoming changes. We always have future videos on.
Yes. Yeah. True. Okay. So we had a question posted in the live topic here. So we had you briefly touched base on 4.5 being a big thing. What considerations went into changing the way plugins were made in the future for version 4 and then in preparation for version 5? And are we planning on those being part of the version 5 or a big version change?
That's kind of what I was alluding to earlier, talking about GraphQL and stuff. So yeah, there will be big changes in version 5 on how plugins and applications, stuff like that, work in the platform. The goal being using more modern approaches to how this works. So you can, like I was saying earlier, break out of this mold of like every time we release an update, you have to update your plugins and applications. That's a big headache. Now, most of the time our updates don't break anything, but every so often, to add a feature or fix a bug or whatever it is like that, you have to, things change and, the plugins and applications have to change with them. But by using things like GraphQL, JavaScript, those kind of technologies, far less likely to break between updates. And that's, so like I was saying earlier, very soon we'll start to talk to people who make third-party resources for Envision Community and sort of, start to explain what we're doing, get feedback, stuff like that. And this will be phased in over time. We're not going to just like one day be like, hey, here's this big change, because that would cause chaos. But we'll start to implement that pretty soon. It'll become available, not required, but just so that way people have time to start to get used to the new system. And then, at some point in the future, we're going to say, okay, you have to use the new system. But we really think people want to. We won't have to make them, because they'll go, oh, this one, it's easier. And two, my clients are happier because my stuff isn't breaking all the time. So we think people will get on board really quick. We think it'll be really great for both the end user, Envision Community clients, but also for the developers and programmers who make these third-party plugins. I think they'll be happy too.
Yeah.
That's something Daniel here is running.
Yes. And as we know, he's an advocate for our marketplace.
Yep.
Developers. Yep. So another kind of similar questions talking about business decisions and how we're helping to prepare our users. We are no longer measuring based on page views. So in the past, that was a deciding factor when people were choosing a plan. Can you talk about what we are envisioning for that now, how people would go about choosing the plan that's best for them?
Yeah, this is something we were actually working for quite a while, because, it's, if you go back 10, 20 years, it used to be bandwidth, everything about how much bandwidth you use. So that kind of went away. Then it was online users, which is kind of a resource-based metric. And then we kind of got rid of that. And then it was page views, which again is sort of a resource, the busier your community is, the more resources that you use. So therefore, you have to go with package structure. over the past several months, we've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes in our sort of infrastructure at AWS and how we go about it by changing up how caching works and things like that. We got rid of the old school we used to call it guest page caching, which is really something we made like 20 years ago before CDNs existed. But now those things are real and are here and have been around for a while. And so we spent actually quite a lot of time integrating Envision Community into these platforms, sending proper response headers and things like that. I won't get into technical details, but the point is we can now say, we can get rid of page use as a metric, which means you're not being punished if your community becomes popular, which seems, counterproductive. We want your community to become popular. So if you get lots of traffic, stuff like that. So you say, why would you ever upgrade between packages? Because you get more features and capabilities as you upgrade, as with any other service. And of course, as your community grows, you probably want more features and capabilities in your community. So that's really what we're going for, which is more of a quote unquote normal way when you buy other stuff online.
Awesome. Makes sense. If we want to shift our focus over a little bit to this live topics feature, we are super proud of it. I'm super excited to be using it and testing it with you guys that are joining today. So please share your feedback. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, how you envision using this for your community, that type of thing. Charles, do you want to talk about it and fill them in on what it's all about?
Really want to, and we'll probably do a dedicated video at some point, webinar on live topics, but this is actually the first time we're using live topics in a live webinar, which is what it's for. Which sounds kind of funny. The short there's so much I can talk about live topics. So live topics came about because we had a lot of people who were coming and saying, can we do live events in the community? And that was the first thing. But then we're like, well, how, just hosting a live stream isn't enough. You can do that anywhere, really. You can do that on YouTube or whatever. And we're using YouTube for the video component here. But the key thing here is inside live topics, you have the chat and the questions and answers are on your community. They're not being sent off to Facebook or YouTube or wherever. You own that data. It's yours, which is a big thing. You can control the experience for the user, which is, we all know YouTube comments can become scary places very quickly. And that's a big deal. But the big thing was once the live event is over, it's not over. On a normal social media or YouTube platform, when the live event's over, people can go back and watch the video, cool, but there's no interaction anymore. It's you're done, you move on to the next thing. Everything's always what's next. With live topics, when the event is over, it actually gets converted to a normal forum topic. So if people couldn't make the live event, or they had a question that came up to them later, or next day, next year, next month, whatever it is, they can come and join that conversation. And the other beautiful thing is, like today, we've probably 10 different questions we've answered. Some of them might spawn good conversation later. You can actually split those off into their own conversation and keep that going. And to me, that's the value here. We had a client I was talking to about this, and they're in the financial industry. So every morning they do a 5-minute YouTube live talking about right before the markets open about what they expect the markets to do. Great. They've been doing this for years, but they're super excited about live topics because then when the markets open, the video ends, everybody goes off and does their trading, but they can talk about, was the prediction correct? Was it wrong? Why was it right or wrong? Did you make money? Just as one example of someone who's really excited about using live topics. So that's the big thing, is it takes the live component, but also makes it permanent, and that conversation can keep going. Yep.
Yeah, very good. So like I said, we're so excited to hear, how you like it and how you would love to use it for your community. So let us know. We had a question asked, which I am liking where you guys are heading with this. So this is from David. Will it be possible to integrate live topics inside courses to make, for example, a weekly Q&A for courses?
I love that people are asking questions about something that doesn't actually exist yet.
Yeah.
So for those you know, courses is something that we're working, it's not even out yet. It's something we're working on for people on our cloud platform. It'll be a value added feature capability where you can have classes and courses. It's kind of like a learning management system, that kind of approach. Yes, we obviously live topics is a very, very, you have your course, you read your articles, and the obvious next step is to have a live thing where your professor can do a lecture or something You can ask questions live. That's an obvious thing. So is being paid courses or paid things. That's a plugin. But I would say, yeah, for sure. But let's wait until we actually have the thing exists for to plug into. Yeah, but I'm really happy people are excited about it because we get asked all the time about, can I have courses and classes in my community?
Yep. Very good. So we'll circle back to GraphQL just for a minute. How soon will we have some documentation? More documentation, I guess, for GraphQL. Looks like we have a little bit so far, but we can always, provide more as needed.
Probably next week. Well, that'll be updated.
Okay, cool. Very good. And then when are we going to add Chat GPT bots? It seems like.
Oh, probably never. I don't know. We'll see where that all goes. It's too early to do anything with that.
Gotcha. Sounds good. Let's see. Do we have any other questions or anything else we want to share about live topics, just to see if anybody, wants to ask any?
Oh, there's so much I could talk about live topics. Like this has been a big undertaking for us, sort of something that we think is, this is version 1. We'll keep evolving, keep improving with it. But we're really excited, and the interest in it has been a big deal because there's so many really fascinating ways clients have said, oh, I'm going to use it this way, I'm going to use it this way. It's been really interesting. And of course, we're doing it as a live video stream webinar sort of thing right now. You don't have to use videos here. You can just do it as a purely text-based question and answer sort of thing too.
Yeah.
And there's other settings and controls we're not showing here. You can control chat, you can control question and answers, stuff like that too. We have it pretty open for our demo.
Yeah, gotcha. And are we going to be supporting any other services beyond Zoom and that type of thing for live topics?
You can embed any video you want in here. Right now, we use YouTube Live. That's what we're using. Right now, the timestamp indicator only works for YouTube because that's the only one we've used so far. But based on feedback and how people are using it, we can add other capabilities. But there's no restrictions. If you want to use Vimeo or Twitch or whatever else is out there, you can certainly do that.
Sounds good. And then we do have another question comment. It would be nice if the live chat had emojis so they can like and heart things. And I know that is in a future.
Yeah, you can use emojis now. There's no you can type emojis in the chat that you can do. But as far as liking, it's so funny because we didn't implement that. We're like, oh, whatever. But the very first time we used live topics, we're like, oh, I wish I could click like on this.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that because we're testing. It just didn't really occur to us. But as soon as you get real users in here, it's like, oh, for sure. I need to click like for sure.
Right. Well, very good. I'm just kind of scrolling through. I don't see any additional questions, but if I've missed them, we are happy to circle back. And like Charles had mentioned, when this live topic is over, it is converted to a topic within your community, or within our community. So you guys will be able to participate in those conversations later on as well. Let's see. One more question. What about attachments? I assume they mean attachments within live topics.
We're not going to allow them in chat for obvious reasons, but we are thinking about adding attachments as, if you ask a question, let's say the answer is a screenshot or something, that for sure is a logical thing. That'll probably be a future thing. But yeah, we've thought about it.
Yeah. Cool. All righty. Well, that's all we have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for using this live topics feature with us today. If you have any questions or want to participate after the chat, please feel free to use this topic that'll be converted and will live in our community. If you'd like to join us for a future event, you are welcome to find those on our events page. We do have more topics and then also more release chats that we will do with you guys as well. So again, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for using Envision Community, and we'll see you